Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome to the Voice of Islam, the special Friday podcast. Alhamdulillah, today we have Sheikh Hatim, all the way from Oman, sitting with me in New Zealand.
Alhamdulillah.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine, Alhamdulillah.
You enjoying the New Zealand weather?
I don't want to leave.
Alhamdulillah,
Alhamdulillah,
alhamdulillah. Sheikh, the day you arrive here in New Zealand, we know what happened with our brothers in Palestine.
Yes.
And inshallah today, if we can have a small discussion, a small talk about this.
Bi-idhnillah ta'ala. Bi-idhnillah ta'ala.
So Sheikh, we see what's happening in Gaza at the moment, right? We see what happened in Gaza and us Muslims are crying. First question, and tough question for you. Is Allah punishing us at the moment?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim tasliman kathira. Thank you very much, Brother Firdaus. It's an honor always to be on Voice of Islam and to be here present in New Zealand. You have addressed a very important issue, which is Allah punishing us through the calamities that we're going through? I think we need to distinguish between two things. The first thing is the trial and tests that all human beings go through.
Yes. Sorry.
And the second thing is the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'll start with the second part, which is the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the glorious Qur'an in so many places the stories of some of the nations that passed, like Qawm Thamud wa Ad, and like Pharaoh as well. So these are some of the examples of nations that went astray and disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent messengers to warn them. He sent signs to warn them, but they totally ignored the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the warnings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, they deserved the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wiped them from the face of the earth, either through flood or wind or earthquakes or any other calamities that were mentioned in the glorious Qur'an. Now, if we come to the condition of our brothers and sisters, and here I'm talking about the Ummah in general, I'm not talking only about Palestine, because we as an Ummah, our calamity is one.
Yes.
It's not the calamities only of the Palestinians, but it is the calamity of the Ummah. Here there are two things where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in one of the verses in the Quran that there is no calamity falls on you except with what your hands brought forward. And this is something to contemplate on, what we have done in our lives, how we disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to go back to Him, so He gives us difficulties and trials in our lives. The other part is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses from His servants, His beloved believers, to strengthen their belief.
Yes.
So He gives them tests. And if you see the prophets and the messengers did not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they went through tests to strengthen their iman, to give them patience, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them opportunity to elevate them to the highest rank. So if we look at the calamity that our brothers and sisters are going through Palestine, if you see the bigger picture, the outcome, our brothers and sisters who are being killed every single day are martyrs in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are elevated to a level which is the highest level a believer would want to be. Therefore, we should not only see the calamities that are happening to us from the human perspective only. We should see from Allah's perspective, as mentioned in the Quran, that وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا وَلَكِنْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. And do not think those who are killed in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they are dead, but they are alive and blessed. So this is the two types that I wanted to share with you, Dr. Firdaus.
So, Sheikh, if you mentioned the two types, and some viewers might ask, which type are we experiencing now? Could it be both at the same time? Could it be...
I think it's not the wrath of Allah, but I think when it comes to the test and trial, it is both. Allah is choosing the selective ones, those who are faithful and obedient to Allah, to test their faith further. And also, some of us in the Ummah are not doing our part the way we're supposed to do. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a warning and wants us to go back to Him. Bismillah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. Beautiful explanation. With regards to the what are the status from your perspective of the people in Gaza at the moment, or Palestine in general? Actually, we can extend this topic to many other places where our Muslim brothers and sisters are in hardships and difficulty.
The first thing I want to say is I would like to salute our brothers and sisters in Gaza in particular and in Palestine in general, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has selected them among all of us in the Ummah to carry the banner. They are now carrying the burden of the Ummah on behalf of all of us. We were not able to do the most sacred job which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to do, which is fighting for the sake of Allah to protect the oppressed. But the people of Gaza have the honor to fight for the sake of Allah and be the voice of the oppressed. So their status at the moment, they are going through a difficult time, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease their pain and to ease their suffering, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them the strength and the patience to move on and continue despite what is happening, because they are on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are very proud of our brothers and sisters in Gaza, and they have honored us when we failed them. So we can pray for them and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to also give us the opportunity to be in their shoes, to be able to fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be martyrs and get to that status of being elevated in the highest level of paradise in Jannat al-Firdaus.
Now, Sheikh, what has the current events in Gaza do to the Muslim Ummah from your perspective? And in fact, perhaps we haven't seen such a unifying voice at the moment. Well, throughout the world, we see our brothers and sisters are speaking up against this, be it in the West or in the East, everywhere. Everybody is speaking about this. Maybe not on the social media, maybe not on the mainstream media, but perhaps everybody on the social media are sharing, and we are getting into it. And subhanAllah, I'll share with you something. I have a friend of mine who came to me and said, it was a very difficult time for him. He said it's very hard. He said what's happening in Gaza, what the pictures that he's seeing in Palestine, seeing the children being martyred, seeing the difficulty that they've gone through, with all the difficulty and the hardship that they have in Gaza at the moment. And we sometimes, living in such a beautiful country like New Zealand, we take this thing for granted. We turn on the electricity whenever we want.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't even switch it off, because why? What for? And on the other hand, people in Gaza don't have electricity. And I was listening to one of the videos they were describing at nighttime. Literally, there was nothing. It's just full of darkness. They are used to it somehow because this thing has happened before. Yes. But this is the level quite extreme. And this brother said to me, he said, he found it very, very hard to think about this. He said, at one point, He said, Alhamdulillah, I live here. And at the same time, he felt bad for what's happening over there. But we also know that those people who are going to struggle, they will be rewarded, inshallah. Okay, they will be rewarded. So, from your perspective, so what do you think of this status and the condition of the Islamic Ummah at the moment?
Well, I think now the condition of the Ummah is quite clear. It is split into 3 categories. The first category are the hypocrites who, instead of standing with their brothers in Gaza, they totally, appeared with their true colors. So they condemn the Gaza resistance, and they are standing with the enemy, and they are supporting the enemy, and they are tweeting about, against the Muslims. And you see, they could not conceal their true colors anymore. And they're very obvious. Some of them even went to volunteer to, help, behind enemy lines and support them, and even send aid to them, and so on. So that is the first category. And then you have the second category, which is the apologetic category, which is the category of people who have the means to help the people in Gaza, but they prefer to be apologetic, to use the diplomacy way, and to talk about it, to discuss about it, to have meeting about, and so on. And then you have the majority of the Ummah, and I'm very, very proud to say about the majority of the Ummah. The majority of the Ummah are awakened, they are united, they have one voice, and they feel for their brothers and sisters in Gaza. And this is something that makes us very proud as Muslims. I never imagined that in the 21st century, where we felt before this incident that people are so away from the deen, we find now the total opposite. People are coming back to the deen, and yes, Palestine is their main concern, and they will do anything for the sake of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. I would like a little bit to elaborate about the second group, which is the apologetic group. And I want to give you a scenario. As you are a doctor, you have a hospital, and you have professional surgeons, and you have a lot of nurses. So you have sick people who are dying in the ICU, but the surgeons, they say, you know what, we are going to work at the reception. We're not going to perform the surgeries. We're not going to be the ones to cure this, because the reception, we will control the flow of patients coming in and out. Now, on the other side, you have the nurses, who are so many, more than the doctors, and they are saying, we know how to do CPR. We can save the life of those who are in the ICU. Just allow us. But the doctors say, we are, sorry, no offense, we are, we know better than you. We have been in the hospital longer. We have higher education, and so on, and we have the say. So leave us. We will manage this. We will find the root cause. We are going to do a survey while people are dying in the ICU. So the only thing I can say is shame on you, because if you're a surgeon or a doctor and people are dying, you shouldn't be working in the reception. Now, when it comes to the Ummah, you have people, okay, who have the means to go and support them by force, but they are saying, no, we will pay some money to support them with food and water. You have people who can pay to support in food and water. They say, no, we will do only dua for them. And then you have people who can only do dua. They say, well, it's none of our business, and it is the fault of this party and that party, and so on. So I think we need to set our priorities right. We need to see the urgency. Our brothers and sisters at the moment are being slaughtered every single second. They don't have food, supplies, and so on. So it is not the time to have closed meetings, have lunch, have resolutions and discussions, and not come up with an immediate solution for the problem.
I guess when we talk about here, at least the situation in Gaza, there should at least be a ceasefire.
Yes.
And there should be a support or aid coming to the country. We talk about fuels for the hospitals, power supplies, and those basic things. Yes. And even water, as you know, even the water got cut off. So it was very difficult. And soon, I'm sure, again, you mentioned about me being a doctor, cholera is one of the big things.
Yes.
And this can kill a lot of people. Yeah. And how can a hospital with no power, no supply, and as we know, we see some videos that some of the doctors are operating without painkillers.
Yeah, an infection.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no
using the same tools.
So, because then how can you sterilize it when you have no power, no means to do so?
Now, I want to go back to the idea of the doctors. The doctors who don't want to go and get their hands dirty in the surgery, at the least they can do is allow the nurses to go, or supervise the nurses to go, or even hire consultants to do the job. Yeah, you can solve the problem with many means. And here, the doctors that I'm talking about are the Muslim leaders. The Muslim leaders, if they don't want to get into military action, the least they can do is cut the supply, which is fuel and gas, to the world economy. And that will make the world economy paralyzed, which will make the decisions of the people who are opposing the what is going on now in Gaza to take a serious action, and we will come to a solution, immediate solution. But as long as we are not sending our troops or armies, and we are not, seizing the resources that we have and shut down the entire operation so that we stand firm for what we believe in, then this will just continue and more people will die. By the time we stop the war, I think maybe 500,000 Gazans will only remain, and 1.5 million Gazans will depart from this world, unfortunately.
If you think about the numbers, 2 million people, and we talk about New Zealand is 5 million here. Yeah. So that means, if let's say even 1 million, that's 1/5 of the population just gone. Yeah. And as we know, majority who are passed away are children. I believe in the latest statistics, half of the dead are actually children, which is at least 2,500 children. And how did the community gonna grow? How do the people gonna rebuild when they don't have the young people? The one that are gonna be left behind. We're talking about the one who died, and there are many thousands more who are injured. And these people will go through trauma, reliving this experience. And they will have also injuries, disabilities that they have to cope with. So, Shah, let's just go to the next point, right? The next point is some of us feel upset and sad because we feel like we are, and especially for us, or especially for Muslims who are not anywhere in the Middle East. I know you're from the Middle East. Even you from the Middle East, there's not much you can do, right? And for us, far away people in Malaysia, Indonesia, New Zealand, America, Australia, how can we be part of the struggle?
Yes.
How can we do something? How can we make change? How can we feel like at least we have done the bare minimum?
Yes. There are a few levels of a victory. Because I just want to clarify something to my dear brothers and sisters, that the victory of Allah does not come sudden. So you don't raise your hands to the sky and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then suddenly you get victory. It doesn't work like that. It's a gradual step towards victory. And through that gradual step, Allah needs to see sincerity in what you're doing and needs to see obedience in what you're doing. So now, for the people who are not in the battlefield, there are a few things that you can do. First, which is the most urgent, is the aid. Yeah, the aid for those who have capabilities to send their money and aid for these people, our brothers and sisters in Gaza, to at least survive. That's number one priority: medicine, food, shelter, and clean water, and fuel for the hospitals. This is like the top priority. The second priority is to pressure our governments to cease fire, to have a firm stand to cease fire. If all of these nations come together and each nation pressures their government so that their governments, in any diplomatic way or whatever way they use, to cease fire immediately, then we will stop the killing. The third thing is dua for them. Now the tricky part about dua only works when we are sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So before we do dua to our brothers and sisters in the middle of the night, we need to do tawbah. We need to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when they were coming from battle and he said, we just came from the smaller jihad to the bigger jihad. So the bigger jihad means the jihad of yourself. So we need to start on the jihad of ourselves to achieve the smaller jihad which is in the battlefield. Today, even if all of the Islamic nations, they gather and they march to Palestine to go and defeat the enemy, if they did not repent and go back to Allah, they will be defeated. And this even happened before. In the early time when Palestine was occupied, the Muslims were united and they had their armies, and some of these armies used to be singing, dancing, drinking, womanizing in the camps. And what happened at the end? We lost Palestine. So it's not about the number. It's not about all of you going to the battlefield.
It's not about technology.
It's not about technology. It's not about anything.
Rockets
and the example in front of us now, what we can see, is this massive military machine. Okay, the Zionists, they have the latest technology. They have more than 300,000 soldiers. They have airplanes and they have everything. All the means, the logical means for them to win this war. And on the other side, you have a few number of people in tunnels, and they are shaking this entire military machine.
Actually, can I add that, Sheikh? I mean, it's not just what happened in Gaza. You look in Afghanistan. The whole Soviet Union were after Afghanistan at one point. Look where Soviet Union is now.
And they were very little, the Afghanis,
exactly.
with no weapons.
With their few weapons, with their mountains and things like that, what they do, right? So the whole Soviet, and in fact, they have to retreat. And there's no way out. Yes. And then the United States went there. Yes. Same thing again. Yeah. You see, now when they retreat, see what happened. Yeah. So now the people of Afghanistan, they themselves govern the country.
Yes.
So, and subhanAllah, one of the brother from Afghanistan, he mentioned it to me. He said, think about this. He said, Afghanistan is probably the land that has the most metal being sunk in their soil. The Soviet Union put all the efforts. The Americans came, and now, subhanAllah, we are seeing some of the weapons that belongs to the American army now being used by the Afghanistan people.
SubhanAllah.
And so that's one example. Two example. We've seen many other places.
Many. Even the first battle where Muslims went through battle was Ghazwat Badr. The Battle of Badr. Yeah, the Muslims were almost 300 plus, and the non-Muslims were almost 1,000. And the Muslims didn't have horses, didn't have weapons. They were on foot and so on. but they won the battle. So it's not about the number. All of us as an ummah, 2 billion people, can go to Gaza and fight. But if this heart is not clean, is not pious, is not closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we will never defeat the enemy. And we can see the examples of Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, how he used to be a worshipper until the last minute. We used to see the example of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before a battle. He doesn't sleep the entire night. He is praying and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for victory. We see, other armies as well, like the army of Umar ibn Khattab when they opened Jerusalem was the same thing, and so on. So the formula is the same. If you're not close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah will not aid you in this battle. So we need to be very, very careful that it's not about numbers, and it's not about just emotionally wanting to go and help while some people even don't pray. So even if you die there, then what's going to happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might have His mercy on you, but you haven't done the means for victory in your life.
So, Sheikh, some brothers and sisters are taking part in protest all over the world, and perhaps you see this more, and I think you will see this in the Middle East. I see some videos from Jordan, I think Egypt as well, and obviously in the West, in the USA, Australia, New Zealand. I know if a few protests happened so far, twice at least. And what's your thought on this, Sheikh?
Well, that's a very good question. And as you know, Dr. Firdaus, Muslims are very divided in everything they do. So we are divided in the mosques. Someone prays like this and someone prays like this. Someone has this ideology, someone has this school of thought, and so on. So seeing Muslims coming together, united for the first time under one banner, under one cause, not differentiating from one another, that's, alhamdulillah, a blessing. That's a good thing. But there's always a but. We want to advise our brothers and sisters that going to protest shouldn't be an excuse to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So again, going to the idea, we're going to protest, we're showing our solidarity, we are making our voice being heard in the public arena and so on. That's good. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. But let us not forget our obligations towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you see, unfortunately in protests, there is a lot of mixing between men and women. People, laughing with one another and enjoying and holding hands. You have sisters who are not covered, not modest. You have brothers, playing music in the background. You have cursing when you have a protest with the other group that is opposing you. Then you curse one another and you shout one another. So you are not representing Islam the way it should be represented. So before you go to protest, before you think that protesting is going to give you benefit, start with yourself. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Qur'an, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. So you start changing yourself first before trying to save the entire world. Yeah. Yes, go to protest, make your voice heard, but it is not an excuse to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, there's something called fiqh al-awlawiyat, the jurisprudence of priorities. Yeah, you cannot say I'm going to protest and miss my Asr prayer. You cannot say I'm going to protest and I have two sisters will be holding hand and holding the Palestinian flag. Just because we're protesting, then I can hold the sisters or carry them on my shoulders or do all of this.
I haven't seen any of this, by the way. Sure.
Well, you watch the TV and you see a lot of things. Yeah, and sometimes you see a sister wearing sleeveless without hijab. She's sitting on the shoulders of a brother, carrying the flag, carrying microphone and screaming and chanting about Palestine and so on. It's a long story.
Like I say, I haven't seen any of these protests yet, but I do know, for example, in the West, like Australia, New Zealand, America, even in the UK, majority of in some places, people who are protesting are actually not Muslims here.
Yes.
And it's actually good to see this in a way, to see that how other people who are not from a Muslim faith also aware and understand that the issue in Gaza is not just it's not about just the religion, it's about the rights of these people.
Yes.
And am I right to say, for example, we do know in Gaza there are Muslims and there are Christians in Gaza.
Yes.
And what happened at the moment, everybody is affected.
Yes.
This is not discriminated. Everybody got affected, and we know what happened. That there was
the church was bombed.
The church was bombed and all that, and so everybody is affected. So we see this. The community started to realize that the issue, it's a lot more deeper than what the religion is all about. Yes. And subhanallah, and I just saw the other day one of the video. Emmanuel Macron, he visited one of the church in Jerusalem called Saint Anne. I think that's the name, Saint Anne. And turned out to be a few of the church was given by the Ottoman Empire to the French, because by the Muslim Empire to the French, because this belonged to them. This is their religion. So one of the respect that we as a Muslim have, freedom of religion, so belong to the church. We give it to them and we protect them as well. So back in the Ottoman Empire, that's why until today we still have residual of the church groups in Palestine.
I think, the protests that are going throughout the world is very impressive, and it's a blessing from Allah. And the entire world now knows about our case,
yes.
And the entire world now is sympathizing with the Palestinians and the Muslims. And it is also a way where it made other people curious, who are people from other faiths. Now
yes.
they're starting to learn about this religion. Some of them, even the first time they hear about the Muslims and the oppression and so on. And if you go on TikTok, you see a lot of non-Muslims reverting to Islam. You see a lot of non-Muslims starting to read the Qur'an, because when they research about this conflict that is there in the Middle East, they know that behind this is a religion,
yes.
which is the religion of Islam. Yeah.
So from your perspective,
yes,
what's victory looks like?
Well, that's a very difficult question. Victory is again in many levels. If the Muslims through these calamities go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and become practicing Muslims and the best ambassadors of Islam, that's a victory. If after this calamity Muslims remain united and don't deviate from one another like before, that's a victory. If the land is freed from the occupier, it's a victory. Yeah. If the entire world starts to realize that, the Muslims are right and they're saying the truth and they have been oppressed all this time, so we have more allies to Islam, then that's a victory. If the Muslims and the non-Muslims live peacefully ever after, then that's another victory. If the Muslim leaders take firm action and follow the requirement and the needs of their people, the people have a say and the people want to free Palestine. So if the leaders are in line with what their people want, that's another victory. Yeah. So maybe this is going to be the last time we see leaders who are puppets, who are being led, and they do not fulfill the needs of the people. So this might be the last generation of them. So that's another victory, and so on. So it's in a different level. People think only when we resolve the issue of Gaza and the Palestine becomes free, then we have won. No, that's not the end of it. because life has to continue.
Yes.
What assures us that after Palestine is free, we will not go back disobeying Allah? Yeah, so we don't want to be punished again by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and given trials because we went back to our old ways of doing things.
Now, one of the things, Sheikh, is about, do we have to be, or should we be optimistic despite what's happening at the moment? I mean, I knew, a lot of people, we see this on the social media. There were many verses of the Qur'an that have been quoted, and people were discussing about this. They say, look, those who passed away in this manner, inshallah, they'll be in Jannah.
Yes.
Okay, especially those children who died. Yes, it's sad, but where are they gonna be? They're gonna be in Jannah.
Yes.
And so, how do we, at these moments of hardships and difficulty?
Well, that's a very good question as well, and it's very, very difficult to be openly optimistic while our brothers and sisters are being slaughtered every single day. So you have to have a balance, not to offend, our brothers and sisters who are going through calamities. Because people who lost their children, their homes, they're being bombed every single day, they don't have food, they don't have water. You cannot go while you're sitting in your comfortable house in the aircon and you have all sorts of food, and then you tell them, oh, you have to be optimistic, you have to be optimistic. So it doesn't work that way. I think optimism should be in the heart and through our actions and not through our words. So we are optimistic that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never fail us and we will eventually get victory. We are optimistic that our brothers and sisters who are struggling and who are resisting are on the straight path and they will reach their target. We are optimistic that the rest of us in the world who did not get the opportunity to be on the battlefield, that one day we will aid our brothers and help them in this honorable task of freeing Palestine. We are optimistic that the Ummah is waking up. It was asleep for centuries, and this is the time for us to get up and be united and go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not talking in sense of power. We should be dominant, we should take over the world. I'm not talking in that sense. I'm talking in the sense that we as believers should go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are very optimistic. And today for someone who goes Hajj, you become very optimistic because you see more younger people going for Hajj. If 20 years ago, when you go to Hajj, you only see old people. But now you see younger people. So it means younger people were far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now younger people are getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Younger people are caring about the Palestine. Younger people are caring about being faithful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Younger people are being closer as one ummah. So this is optimism. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us and said, be optimistic and you will get it. So we have to be optimistic as Muslims because Allah promised us victory.
And we have to have a good thoughts about everything that Allah has made it happen.
Yes.
Everything happened for a reason, and there is a reason, there's a goodness behind it. We don't know. And like one of the brothers used to say, he said, we only see that snapshot at this point of time, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And what we need to do, we need to make the best of everything at that moment.
A few days back, Brother Firdaus, I was invited for lunch, and in that house there was a woman who reverted to Islam 2 days after the incident of Gaza. She's from here, from New Zealand. And they asked me to speak to her and tell her more about Islam. And this is fascinating. Out of all of this calamity, where people are being bombed and dying, people are coming to the fold of Islam, which is something that gives us optimism in this life. And me being here in New Zealand and seeing native people like the Maoris and the Samoas and so on being Muslims, this is something to be very happy. This is something that makes us optimistic that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala.
So I think we mentioned this before, Sheikh. I mean, if we were all the Muslims, 2 billion Muslims united,
Yes.
and we all were to go to Palestine, right, to Gaza, and work together, will we achieve success and victory? Is it guaranteed?
Again, nothing in this world is guaranteed, but the word of Allah is guaranteed. Allah says in the Quran, "In tansurullaha yansurukum wa yuthabbit aqdamakum." If you aid Allah, Allah will aid you and hold your feet firm. So that is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the difficult part is for us to do our part, for us to aid Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you ask, how do you aid Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By following His commands and staying away from what He has forbidden. So it is not an easy task. It is not an easy task to be a Muslim. It is not an easy task to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to struggle. We have to strive. Again, it's not about numbers. If we all go to Palestine today and we don't have Iman and we are not sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will never aid us. Now, I want you to take the example of the Battle of Uhud, where the Muslims were powerful, and not only that, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in the middle with them. And because of the Muslims disobeying the command of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they lost the battle while the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is with them. Now, what about us today? The Prophet is no longer with us. Will we win the battle even if we're dominant, if we're powerful, if we have the numbers, but we don't have sincerity and we don't have strong faith? I don't think we're going to win.
Now let's talk about something new, the new phenomenon nowadays. Okay, we hear on YouTube, on TikTok, some of our clips, on Instagram, on Facebook. All right, and social media become quite a powerful tools, to be honest with you, Sheikh. Not just what happened in Palestine and Gaza. It can alter the elections outcome.
Yes.
We see this in the United States. We see this in many places. You know, they say the social media is the most powerful tools. And subhanAllah, what we see in Palestine is different from when I was growing up.
Yes.
Back in those days, we'll be sitting on the TV waiting for the news to come up, and that's all that we get.
Maybe there's only one narrative.
That's right. One narrative, one person telling the story, and that's it. And we heard that, keep it in, and that's what we believe. That's what we accept. Now, the social media have changed the whole thing. Now, everyone and everybody can say something. Everyone's voice can be heard. Yes. And in fact, this is what's happening in Gaza. You know, where the locals, the people in Gaza themselves, they were recording, they were taking videos, they were taking pictures, they were sharing this online. And that is very powerful. And while without the social media, we won't be seeing this.
I want to give you one example, Dr. Firdaus.
Yes.
When this turbulence happened in the Middle East, you heard the rumor of the Hamas warriors beheading 40 babies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Now, just imagine this. They said that 40 babies were beheaded by Hamas. There is no pictures. There is no eyewitness. Nobody, interviewed the parents of the 40 babies. Nobody showed the bodies of the 40 babies. But where it went on social media, it went viral like fire. And in the entire world believed the idea of the 40 babies that were beheaded. And this is the power of media, mainstream media and social media. Now, previously, the domination power was dominating the mainstream media. But now with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the same people who are dominating the mainstream media, they also invented the social media. This is their idea. They came up with the social media. But alhamdulillah, Muslims today have been so active on social media and are using this powerful tool more than the weapons. People think that social media is not powerful. It is more powerful than the weapons. And if you want to know that social media is powerful, look at all your accounts on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. Everything is being blocked. If it was not powerful, they wouldn't bother about you. What is 2 billion Muslims? Yeah, talking about Palestine, showing pictures of people dying. It doesn't bother them. But because it's powerful and because the message is going across, that's why your accounts are being blocked. And what you need to do is to continue. They block one account, open another one. They block the second account, open a third one, and continue sharing the narrative from your perspective, because it has come a time where we no longer wait for the news from them. We can also show you our side of the story. And this is what is happening today. You find a lot of non-Muslims seeing the story for the first time. We even have Jews on TikTok who said we were, very aggressive towards the Palestinians and we hated them, and we hated Muslims in general. But when we saw the story from the other side, the other narrative on social media, we changed our perspective, and today they are standing with solidarity with the Muslims. Alhamdulillah.
Let's go to the next question. Right, this is the difficult question because
all of the previous questions were not difficult.
No, that wasn't difficult. This is the hardest one.
So we were warming up.
Yeah. So a lot of things is previously, if the issues in Palestine, it's always been put as an issues of two faith having a fight with each other.
Yes.
The Judaism and the Islam. Now we know that's not true anymore, as you mentioned before.
Yes.
There are many people of Jewish faith who are actually standing in solidarity with the Muslims in Palestine.
And even Christians and even atheists.
Exactly, and we know
Buddhists.
The Christians as well. Yeah. We know the Christians are suffering in Gaza. We know Christians are suffering in Palestine.
Yes.
So this is beyond faith. Okay, so people might think that the old narrative, the narrative that has been pushed before this was Muslims doesn't like Jews. Is it true?
Well,
I told you it's a hard one.
Yeah, it is a hard one. Now I think there is a misconception from the Western world and there is a misconception from the Muslim world. I'll start with the misconception from the Muslim world. The misconception from the Muslim world that all Jews are bad, or all Jews are Zionist, or all Christians are enemies of Islam. But the reality that we should understand, we have to distinguish between the action of the government and the public. The public are innocent people, normal people. They might not even have heard of Palestine. They're just simple people doing their daily work, and that's it. But the actions of their governments, which show animosity towards Muslims, that's made the Muslims think that the West, in particular the Jews and the Christians, hate the Muslims, which is not true. And that's why it is important to use the tool of social media to propagate this message that we as Muslims, we are not enemies with the Jews and the Christians and other people of other faith, and also they are not our enemy, because we have the same path in this life. We want what is good for us, we want what is good for our kids, and so on. On the other hand, we need in particular to distinguish between Jews and Zionists. There are so many good Jews out there who are standing with the Palestinians and they're standing with the Muslims and they want to live peacefully. But the Zionist is something else. Even the Jews themselves, they say that the Zionists do not represent us as Jews. Now,
just quickly, Chair, I mean, that's a good point. That's something that we may not become aware of it before. But because of the social media, these people are speaking up against them. You know, I never knew about it. You know, like even the Jewish people within Israel are against the Zionist government.
yes.
I wasn't aware of it until I saw it on the social media.
Yes.
And you look it up and you figure out that's what it is. But this narrative wasn't there on the mainstream media.
That's why it's media is a dangerous tool. The way you use it.
That's true.
Yeah, the way you use it, you can influence people.
Yes.
So you need to be very, very careful how you use the tool. And unfortunately, the Zionists controlled the media and used it very well in propagating that the Muslims are the enemy. Yeah. And yesterday's news, we saw the release of the two old hostages who were Jewish, and they were released by the Hamas. Okay, and they had an interview on the TV, and they said that these soldiers, Hamas soldiers, were very kind to us. They gave us food, they gave us medicine, and so they said nice things. On the other hand, you find in the Western media, on the bold headline, two Jewish women, went through hell in captivity. So the story from the victims themselves said that they were treated nicely and correctly and honorably. And on the other side, the media is saying a total different story. Now, let us go on the other side, where the West are afraid of the Muslims and they hate the Muslims, and they have this idea that all Muslims are terrorists and the Muslims are the ones who are aggressors. You remember when we were driving here in New Zealand, and we found a very, an elder citizen, a Kiwi, and he said when he knew I was from the Middle East, he said, "Oh, there's a lot of trouble now in Middle East. Hamas asked for it." Now, we don't blame these people to feel this way, because the narrative that reached to them is this. Now, it's our duty to come forward, whether in social media or in person, and explain to people the reality, the other side of the story, so that we as human beings can coexist and live together peacefully and in harmony. It is not in the interest of the people controlling the world for all of us to be together and to live in peace.
We all want peace.
Yes.
Everybody wants peace and security.
Indeed.
Last question, Sheikh Hatim.
Are you sure?
Last question on this topic.
Inshallah.
Yeah. This is an easy one.
Yes. I don't know if I can trust you.
What's your message for those who are of other faith, whether they are any religion, Buddhists, Christians, or any religion, or no religion, for example, who stand together in solidarity with the Palestinians, with the Muslims?
Well, my message to my brothers and sisters in humanity who are standing in solidarity with the Palestinians and the Muslims in general, protesting and being very active and vocal on social media. First of all, I would like to say thank you for your humanity. Thank you for being open-minded. Thank you for listening to the story from both sides. And thank you for thinking independently without being pushed by the public narrative. And I would also like to say that you are our brothers and our sisters, and we love you for the sake of Allah, and we want what is good for you. So get to know us better. And you would know Muslims better by reading the final revelation to mankind. If you want to know why we believe and why we behave in such a way, read the glorious Qur'an, because the life of a Muslim is revolving around the revelation, which is the final revelation to mankind, the Qur'an. So don't listen to any news agency that will tell you about us. Come and talk to us, or read our final revelation, which is to mankind, the glorious Qur'an, and you will understand the entire picture. So thank you very much again for your solidarity and your love and your compassion and your courage at the same time, because I know in today's world we have the cancelling culture, and you might get into trouble for saying the truth. You might be cancelled, and we saw some influencers on social media losing their contracts with a lot of brands because they were courageous and they said the truth. So may God bless you, and may Allah give you the strength to see the light and to be on the straight path, bi'idhnillah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh Hatim. We'll conclude our program today by going and go have some fish and chips, which is a in New Zealand Kiwi tradition.
This is the most interesting part.
Anytime you spend time with the Muslim, you always finish with the food.
With the food,
Okay.
alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khairan, brothers and sisters, for watching. Please do share and forward. And inshallah, we'll see you in the next program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.